Alrighty, there we go. So to start, I'm on version 1.0.0. That is just for verification purposes. This will be a Tears of the Kingdom All Shrines run. To my knowledge, this has never been run during a marathon, so you guys will be seeing history made. Unfortunately, I do not hold, or technically fortunately, I do not hold the world record anymore. I completed the first ever run for this category in under 6 hours. And as of, let's see, as of this morning, my record has been beaten, and it has been beaten by around 17 minutes. And so we are trying to go for around 5 hours and 45 minutes, which is pretty doable, I could say. I have lots of golds, and there will be a lot of tech. So, with that, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so if you guys did not see my run on Saturday or Sunday, the glitches are going to be right off the bat. First things first, I'm not going to be able to explain this while I'm doing it, so that's why I'm explaining it now. We are going to clip through the ceiling with some janky climb physics, and then we're going to skip over some cutscene triggers, and it should save around a minute if done optimally. This is, or at least this version is 1.0 exclusive, which is why I have to show the version. So yeah. But it will be right off the bat. I'm gonna I'm just gonna kind of lock in because this segment is very, very large. Ugh, please. Oh my god. Why am I not clipping through the ceiling? Why am I not clipping through the ceiling? Please let me clip through the ceiling. Please let me clip through the goddamn ceiling. What? Okay, there we go. Very, very. Okay, there we go. Usually I do not have that much of a struggle with clipping into the ceiling. But this is a 6-hour run now, so I think I can afford the time loss. Okay. I am... Luna, can I post a... Can I post a link in chat? Game's overpowering my voice. Okay, let me fix that. That should be better. There we go. Looks better. And I get the bad load. Of course. Of course I get the bad load. Because why wouldn't I? Right? By the way, what I mean by the bad load there is that for some reason, well, I'm using a mod to start.
Ah. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Oh, that's great. For some reason, my mic decided that we're just gonna mute ourselves on OBS. I can't tell you why. But yeah, that should be fixed. Sorry about that. So yeah, unfortunately, you guys might have not heard my explanations, but, you know, my explanations aren't really the greatest. But essentially what we're doing is that, for what I'm kind of doing is that I'm using Arrow Smuggle Flight to cancel jump slashes. And essentially what Arrow Smuggle is that bow that we put at our feet at the beginning basically makes our bow invisible, as you can kind of see. I love it when that happens. Me too. Isn't it so amazing and not, like, really piss? Like, doesn't make you, like, not want to, like, end it all. And, like, you know, kind of really be annoyed and just, like, delete OBS altogether. But anyways, we can cancel jump slashes, and canceling jump slashes allows us to preserve our speed from a bomb jump or something like that. And on top of that, we can also use it to cancel fall damage, as you saw right after Ascend. Because if in this game, if you started dive and you go up, it actually resets your height value for whatever reason. So for us, we can use that with an arrow smuggle because we'll go up. And essentially, when we go up, we can press the dive to, of course, dive up a little bit, and it will reset our height value. We can also do it with other movement glitches that we will see here. But you will kind of see a trend on how gravity is almost always just an option. We are not defined by the laws of gravity in this game. You are seeing this here with Arrow Smuggle, as since I can repeatedly cancel my jump slashes, I can actually gain height. Which is what you saw in Ascend. I was repeatedly canceling my jump slashes really fast to gain height, and that was what you saw on the way to Ultra Hand, where I was gaining just a little bit of height and preserving my speed at the same time. Did you guys hear what I said about my fake Master Sword, or no? Do I have to go all the way back? If not, then if not, then it's fine. I can pretty easily explain it, but, you know, just don't want to explain things twice, because we are going to be here for the long haul. If you look at my GG split, it's around 6 hours. So here, I'm going to do something called a bomb recycle, where... Please? There we go. Essentially, if I swap to a bomb shield and I drop it, and I'm on the ground and I can't take it out, yeah. Essentially, it just doesn't take it doesn't take durability, and we keep our fuse. And on top of that, as you could see, we were we gained a lot of speed because we were shield surfing down a slope, and that gave us a lot of speed, and we transferred it to the bomb shield to go up. So here I'm going to throw my weapons to actually obtain this Master Sword. Just like so. Because for this type of Zuggle, there's two types of Zuggles that we will use. There's static Zuggle, which is where you use the map and you fail drop it, and fail dropping is that it just fails to drop against a wall, and it will go on our back. And to drop that, we just need to drop the weapon itself, and it will drop all of them. For this is called a dynamic Zuggle, which means that it is dynamic with Link's model, and to drop it, we need to throw our weapons or get shocked. Okay, that is a little bit on the unfortunate side. I think I can save this, hopefully. Thank you. I'm just going to regain my stamina here. There we go. That's a nice backup. And there we go. Not the greatest Great Sky Island split in the world, but as you could see, we just kind of I used a backup to bomb jump off a slope, which will give us speed. But what we did, which is basically we are going to use a head bonk, kind of the same way as a ledge bonk, where if we bonk our head in a specific way, we can actually go forward. Or we can give us forward momentum, and as you know, we can keep all of our forward momentum. Of course, it wouldn't really be a Zelda game if Link didn't experience some very traumatic injuries. In this game, he won't really be experiencing much. Actually, I take that back. He is going to be blown up by a boss's balls a lot. And we just have to give him, of course, some good old brain damage. You know, nothing too much. And there we go. There is the Great Sky Island. So now it's going to really start to turn up. The heat is going up a lot. And first things first, we are going to go get some rockets. Just over here. Right there-ish, where that yellow patch is, that's like right near my shield, there's going to be a rocket chest. And of course, if we can get 3 rockets, we can get infinite rockets, as you saw with my wings. So we're going to be using that to move over to Lookout Landing for the paraglider. I'm going to pick up Splash Fruit here, and then I'm going to pick up rockets here as well, and I'm just going to dupe a couple. Just casual, of course. 1, 3, 1, 6, 12, and there we go. So now we're going to do something called Pocket Rocket, which I'll get into in a little bit. Just bear with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so essentially, okay, now that we've gained enough height, I should be okay to talk. Essentially, what we did was that if you do something called a fuse entangle, which is that if you interrupt the fusing of something, it will spawn back on the ground and it will fuse to it. And as you can see, I fuse entangled it to my shield, and I fused that rocket to my weapon. And essentially what that allows me to do is it allows me to repeatedly cancel using a rocket shield, and very quickly, which, as you could see, gave me some height and some speed that I am preserving with Aero Smuggle Flight. This is also called the Pocket Rocket Aero Flight, or a PRAF for short. Just cancel our fall damage here. And we are now at Lookout Landing, 2.5 minutes after we beat the Great Sky Island. With rockets, of course. Because, you know, why wouldn't we be? So now we are just going to make our way to the Kionona Shrine, just for a warp point, and you'll see why later. And then we're going to make our way to Hawes to kind of complete the paraglider story, because having the paraglider isn't necessarily needed, but it makes it much, much faster, or it makes playing the game much, much faster, or at least at this length. And on top of that, we can, of course, it gives us a way to cancel our fall damage really easily. It makes it much more convenient, and it will make some of our movement tech actually faster. Okay, so now we're just going to make a new rocket shield, because this does take durability. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Using this pocket rocket, or specifically the way that I'm using it right now, uses durability. Right after paraglider, we are going to do a stupidly broken setup to kind of bypass that, if you will. And essentially, that will be one of our two main ways of transportation. The other way will be something called cart slides. Some people call it the magic carpet. It looks like a magic carpet, but I call it a cart slide because we are basically just using a big weapon on our feet to push the cart forward, and we kind of slide across the map. But magic carpet is probably just a little more intuitive. So we kind of did the same thing, just to kind of get up to Hawes, and now we are going to wing over to the Hylian Shield. And that is because the Hylian Shield has a lot of durability, and of course, you best believe that we can dupe it. So, 1, 2. So we're just going to hop on a wing here, and then we're going to fuse a rocket to our weapon to get it down to 1 durability. So if you guys heard me talking about how we can if it's 1 durability, it will have crit damage. So we're gonna fuse this and then transfer that state of being in 1 durability. 1, 2. There we go. We're gonna transfer this state of the Actually, hold on. I need to do transfer. So we're gonna transfer this real quick. So we're gonna do stop. And there we go. So essentially we're doing something called modifier deletion with episode transfer, which is where we just kind of zuggle it in a way that the game doesn't know what to do if you pick it up first. So we're going to pick it up first, and then that durability and all of its modifiers and its fuse will be transferred onto the Master Sword, and it will create a new copy as well. So we're going to zuggle this real quick to dupe it. This is the zuggle that I was talking about with the map, by the way. 2. Okay. We're just going to grab some arrows, because it will contribute to something called overload, which I'll get into later. What am I doing? I need to set up a pocket rocket. As one does. Okay, there we go. So that is kind of, as you can see, Pocket Rocket is very, very broken. Main thing is that when you have a low durability shield, it takes durability. But as you kind of know, the Hylian shield has a lot of durability. It has exactly 800, which means that we can do this rocket pump 800 times before the rocket shield breaks. We're going to do a setup to make that until it breaks not there, and it has some other pretty cool features, which I'll get into in a bit. But now we're going to warp back to the Kianona Shrine, and we're going to go back to Lookout Landing to receive the paraglider. Also, on one quick note, we do not want to map. So, well, first off, we get the map after we get the recall rune, and on top of that, there's a very annoying cutscene that if you open the map through the map rune, Link has to pull it out of his pocket and then look at it. We can bypass that by when we're using it with minus, if we jump or open the pause menu first. But since we did not open the pause menu, I probably should have. Yeah, I probably should have drained my stamina. Whatever. Close enough. Anyways. So we do not want to open our map, but when we complete the Gray Sky Island, that animation just goes away. So essentially what we're going to do, or essentially what we do, is we just kind of wait. We're just going to cancel our, fall damage again. And now we're going to go receive the paraglider. And the paraglider combined with a different type of pocket rocket called Ultimate Pocket Rocket, or UPR, is essentially going to be, it's going to replace this semi-permanent pocket rocket that we have now. And in exchange, it will use no durability, it will use no battery, and it's really cool. So, yeah. It does take around a couple minutes to set up, and the setup is kind of complicated. So I will try my best to explain it, but if it does not make sense, I apologize. I am trying to make a tutorial on how to perform it in the future, so that should give a much more in-depth explanation than one that I can perform on the fly. Also, on another note, you're watching the stream right now, and you haven't drinking water in the last couple of minutes. Please stay hydrated. Cheers.
Oh. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have a raw wound on the inside of my mouth, and it hurts when I put water. So now we're going to receive the paraglider. And from here on out, we're just not gonna talk to Pura. Usually, from here, you usually go and, you know, launch to the tower, but we're not gonna do that. Why? Because it's slow, and we don't like slow. So what we're gonna do instead is that we're just gonna kind of warp away, and since we do not have to beat any of the dungeons, we do not have a requirement to exit through the tower. In other places, you have to talk to Pura to unlock Mineru or the Regional Phenomena quest. So that's why you'll see some categories, like all dungeons, have to launch, because then they cannot do the 5th stage. Or Hyrule Castle. So here we're going to do UPR. I have to focus up. I'll try to explain as I go, though. I'm going to do a desmuggle here. Just like so. I'm going to use a fire fruit. I'm going to drop my wing. I'm going to do something called a throken, where that, essentially, we're going to throw 1, 2. So now the like has eaten us, and it causes some weird properties to the rusty broadsword. So we're going to fuse entangle it. We're going to drop, and we're going to swap. We're going to fuse entangle our rockets, just like so. Make a pocket rocket, and we're just going to kind of zuggle these both together to kind of keep them on our back. Unequip, equip, pick up the rocket shield, and now we're good to go. Sorry if I didn't explain it too well. I kind of go into what happens in just a little bit. But this setup, as you can see, is it's very complicated. So I kind of had to focus. Pick up zoning charge. Now we're going to go to this construct over here to stun him. Just like so. Pick up his tree branch. It's actually a wooden stick. Drop the rocket club. He's gonna pick it up. And now we have an ultimate pocket rocket. Right. So now we're gonna call it. Drop swap. Fuse and tangle. Drop swap. Circle. Unequip. Pick up the wooden shield. Fuse. And feed this to the light, just like so. And we're gonna go. And just shoot our Highland shield on the ground. We're gonna pick up the rocket shield, the Highland shield, and we are good to go. So we're going to now just peace out. And here you go. This is Ultimate Pocket Rocket. And this is going to be our main short-term movement transportation, which is not going to be a lot, but it's going to be a lot in shrines, or at least some of them. And essentially, we are just kind of pumping our paraglider and using a rocket shield's boost to boost us forward. And essentially what I did there is I performed something called a throken. And a throken is essentially if you zuggle something and keep it on the ground, then what happens is that if you throw your weapon, it just kind of teleports to your feet, and that gives your pocket rock, and it gives something, or it gives, hold on, I need to, 2, 3, 5, that did not go as expected. Ugh. Gained 3 fairies from that, are we serious? There we go. So we're just going to duplicate some fairies. And essentially what that throken does is that if we make a pocket rocket, and we give it to a construct, it will have the effect of a temporary pocket rocket, which is essentially if you don't fuse it to your weapon, which allows us to essentially have no durability and no battery, like you saw. Okay, so now we're just gonna do a shrine. Now I'm gonna kind of go more in depth on explanation. So then if we perform a throken, and then and we give it to a construct, we can use the construct's ability of not using battery, compared with temporary pocket rocket to not have durability, to kind of create an ultimate pocket rocket of sorts. Run. Anyways, let's not do that. Let's go forward. So yeah, if we give it to a construct, and then we do something called a permacall to essentially kind of, it's to keep that weapon shield, or that throken, near us at all times. So now we're gonna just do this, just like so. And this is gonna be the Jochisu Shrine. So we're gonna make our way to Dragonhead Island, because that will give us carts, and steering sticks. And should I explain? I don't know. I don't think I will. There we go. Okay. What? 37. I should be at 47 at this point. 40, close enough. I think we can deal with that. My duping is, for some reason, not. It's not duping. It should. So we're gonna do the Jujitsu Shrine now. 1, 2. Just like so. And now, actually no, not now. We're not off just yet. We're gonna do a couple shrines on the way to Dragonhead. Of course, to get Steering 6 and stuff. But also, we're gonna kill a Lionel on the way there. And the Lionel will give us a good source of damage for the half dozen bosses that we have to go beat. And a good bow and some arrows. So it's overall good. And a topaz as well to defeat the Demon King's army. And just a little bit. But why are we defeating the Demon King's army? Don't worry, we'll get it. Okay. So we're just going to pick up a golden apple there, because there's a shrine in Quark Forest where you need 5 golden apples. So we're just going to pick up one there. And of course, if we have 1 apple, we have infinite apples. So we're just going to duplicate it later. I forgot to split. Unfortunate. So yeah. We're just going to do the Geocom shrine at this point. And this will be just another shrine that we have to do. And as you can see, this is what I mean on how we're going to pocket rocket in shrines. We can cheese every single puzzle in this game with 2 things. Pocket rockets, or something called a cart clip. Or, which I will get into later. Cart clips are going to be used for a bunch of shrines, and on my splits, which are on the left, they will be labeled as C-stick or C-prov. C-stick meaning C steering stick, and C-prov meaning C proving grounds. And if you have no clue what that means, don't worry. You'll see. We're going to be here for another 5 or so hours. So, buckle up. So we're just going to go to the Itoja Shrine. And this is the main reason why we do these shrines before Dragonhead. It's because of this shrine right here. For this shrine, you have to throw a spear through the ring. Which is very cool and all. If only we couldn't throw our weapons later in the game, because of Dynamic Zoggle. So we're just going to do it now, before we Dynamic Zoggle, and then that will be the problem out of the way. So we're going to throw this through the ring, just like so. And we do not have to get the quest here. So we are just not going to get the quest, because it is extra dialogue. And now I'm going to Zoggle just a little bit for some damage. 1, 2, 3, and there we go. So I'm just zuggling to just kind of keep my or sorry, not to keep, but that, that Lionel that I mentioned, he's gonna have a lot of health, right? He's gonna be kind of hard to beat, especially since we're not even an hour into the game. How are we gonna beat him? Well, of course, if we have 4 weapons equipped that just so happen to deal 80 damage apiece, we deal 320 damage a hit. And that's, that's a lot. So, you'll see how broken Zoggles are in a little bit. Zoggles are arguably the most broken glitch in this game. Some more. 54 should be fine. My duping is not it today, and it's causing me problems. Lucky for me, I won't have to dupe many more items after this segment. So we're just going to go over here, and we're going to grab a topaz. And I mentioned it's for the Demon King's army. And, of course, in this, or at least in this category, we have to do all the shrines. We have to get the fursuit. The fursuit is it's the ancient heroes aspect, as it's called. I call it the fursuit because it is basically just Link in a furry cosplay. If you don't believe me, I'll show you at the very end of the run. And then on top of that, after we get the fursuit, we have to beat the game. So we're going to beat the Demon King's army twice, and you'll see why. So we're gonna drop our UPR shield to not get rid of it. And we're just gonna... There we go. There we go. I'm just gonna do my items real quick. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. Unequip. We're going to duplicate our bow through something called transmutation. I do not know why I picked that up. That is a useless item. Boom. These to our weapon. Drop. Pick up all of our weapons. So now we have a 140 damage weapon somewhere in the stack. Pick up this Royal Claymore. We're going to equip it. We're going to pick up this. Plus, swap, equip. And, oh wow, it's a Savage Lionel bow. Now I pick up the Rapid Shield. There we go. So essentially what I did there is I did something called item sort, or I think it's called shift sort transmutation, or something like that. Or it's like weapon sort transmutation. And what I'm doing is that if you pick up an item that's on the ground and you don't have anything equipped, it will show up in your inventory, right? But if you press Y to sort your inventory, and then equip the previous place that it was held, it will transmutate. Right now, it is not transmutated fully. It is not transmutated fully, but we will fully transmutate it in just a little bit. So now we're going to go up to Dragon Head, and we're just going to gain some steering sticks, and some... We're just going to get some steering sticks, and then we're going to do the Joku Ushrine, which will come in pretty useful at some point. Steering stick. Nice. Do I have carts? Yes. Nice. I don't have fans. That's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just go jump to Joku. Thank you. Okay, and there we go. We will be golding here, which is pretty nice. By the way, when I touch the pedestal, like this, it will take 9 seconds, or it'll take around 8, and it will take around 8.9 seconds for it to, for all the cutscenes and stuff, so that's how I kind of know if I golded or not. Because after around 8.9 seconds, after I hit the pedestal, I will split. Okay, so now we have cards and we have steering sticks. So we're just going to warp over to Kyonotis. And we're going to clip to Army. And the reason why is because Goma has some really weird balls. And essentially... Hold up, I gotta do something real quick. Unequip, save. Just like so. There we go. Hold up. I will explain in just a quick second. Give me a second, please. Use Topaz. Steering stick. There we go. Sir? I need you to clip through the. I need you to clip through the ground. There we go. So if you fuse and tangle a steering stick, which I did using a weapon, which is what I did with my Topaz, we can just like clip through the ground. We can also do it with something called Zuggle Overload, which I'll get into later. But essentially, we're going to go beat the Demon King's army and Colgera because Goma has some really nice balls. And what I mean by that is that his balls, or his big red rocks, I like to call them his balls because it's funnier, but his balls are essentially going to, also there, if you ragdoll into specific spots out of bounds, you can clip back in bounds, which is just kind of what I did there. So his balls basically allow us to blow ourselves up before we hit the Proving Grounds trigger, which skips us getting our items taken away. 2... we're just gonna equip this. Okay. So, yeah. We are going to love doing these balls over the course of the run. They're going to save 10 to 15 minutes. You know, crazy. But essentially, we will save around a minute to a minute and 10 seconds per Proving Grounds. And I think there's 15 in the game. So we're going to go around 5 minutes out of our way to kind of go get that. And yeah. So now we're just gonna... No. So now we're going to beat the Moblins. And that is Demon King's army. Yo, that's my goat right there. Yo, what's up, Yakui? What is up? So now we're gonna beat Colgera pretty handedly with some good old rocket arrows. Colgera's underside is always vulnerable, which means that if we hit it with something like, you know, rocket arrow, hopefully if I have rockets, he just takes damage. Where's... No... What's up? That is really unfortunate. That is very unfortunate time loss. Unfortunately, Colgera decided to teleport right away, which means that I couldn't hit her underside in time. So now we're going to make quick work of the second phase with the exact same process. Just one rocket arrow. There we go. There is Colgera. Now we are going to move on to Marbled Goma, and we are going to smuggle one of his balls back to our main save. So we're going to undo our Royal Claymore. Zoggle, Zoggle, drop, load, hard, save. I somehow golded. So now I need to drop his ball rock, or ball weapon, quickly, and I need to pick it up, so give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, now it is Zoggle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. 7. Please. Stop. 8. No, stop. Please. 8. Swap. Drop. Let's equip a bow. Oh, I need to equip a shield. Makes sense. Let's do this, this, swap. We're gonna... Okay, swap drop. Give me that Savage Lino bow back, please. Please, Savage Lino bow. Okay, now we're going to. Just do some string sticks. And there we go. Nice. So, we are now going to have a claymore permanently stuck at our feet, and that will be our main move, way of long transportation. And this is what steering sticks are for. If we have something called overload, which is where we put so many weapons on our back, in this case it's going to be 9, 8 weapons, including the one at our feet, the game literally does not have enough memory to process collision. So, if we mount something, it doesn't know that we can, it doesn't really know that we can kind of, have a floor beneath us, or walls, which you'll see later, but mostly floors. So, yeah, it just clips us through the floor, which is why we have steering sticks, and then you'll see why carts are super important here in just a second. So we're going to regain our collision. And this is why carts are important. Right here. That was a little janky. We're off. So we are going to be moving really fast in these carts. I'm not moving fast right now, but trust me, we will be in the future when I am not in such awful terrain. So I need to do a couple steering sticks. Maybe duping. I'm looking for 140. I'm going to start with 110. We might need to go to 140 later in the future, though. 90, 100, 110. Now we're going to do around 120 carts. Okay, so now we're going to go over here. We're going to grab an Endure Carrot, specifically for the Horse God quest. I'm going to go over to the Yanyo Shrine, where we are going to clip once again. And that is what stick means. If you see stick, it means that we're going to do some sort of clip. C means we're going to do a cart clip, and a prov means a proving grounds. So C prov means a cart in a proving grounds. And here I'm attempting to do something called zonai storage. So usually on every other version, except for version 1.0.0, you aren't allowed to take out zonai devices and shrines. But on 1.0, if you press A and B at the same time, you will have one zonai device left in your inventory. And essentially, what that zonai device allows us to do is well, I'm already 4 minutes behind solve. That's not great. But, essentially, that allows us to, if we press A and B again, it will keep one in our inventory. So we can just kind of keep taking out zoning devices and shrines. And if we clip with the steering stick, we can clip in shrines. Hey, nice. There we go. That is what it should look like. And as you can see, we are really moving at this point. In fact, this game has a speed cap of around 96 meters per second, or around 216 miles per hour. I'm sorry, I live in freedom units, so I do not know that in kilometers. I can look it up. Just give me a second. That is around 350 kilometers an hour. So we're going to use a bomb here. That's... Please. That's not great. But essentially, we are going to be moving at around 350 kilometers an hour, or 216 miles an hour, to most of the shrines, which is pretty damn fast, I'd say. I'd say that going 216 miles an hour is pretty damn fast, especially on a cart with a big piece of stone on it, but, you know, this game's broken as fuck. Essentially, the further forward that I walk on the cart, the faster that I'll go, up until a speed cap. So I can go further on the cart than this, but I won't be gaining any more speed, so that's why I'm not going up further, and it's also just for safety reasons. So yeah, we're going to be clipping through a lot of shrines. And it is because some shrines in this game are very slow, including the ones that are combat trainings. Combat training shrines are notoriously slow, and that's why we're clipping through those. And then normal shrines, or sorry, there are some shrines that are also very, very slow, that we're going to clip through. And then there are some shrines that just have, like, you know, a wall in between that and the pedestal, and we can just clip through that wall. You will see that in 2 shrines. Not this shrine, but the next one. And it will be a Proving Grounds. We can clip through every single Proving Grounds in the game. I'm not going to clip through one of them, because it is a little riskier. We're just going to take out a steering stick here, and we're going to go in the shrine. And this one is specifically inbounds. If you remember the shrine, which I guarantee most of you do not, essentially what you do is you go up, and then you have to, like, you know, do recon, or you kind of have to, like, launch into the hole, right? But, you know, there's a grate here. Best believe we can just clip through it. Like, what are we, following the laws of physics? Hell no. So C-Prov, as you can see, there's a C next to it, which means that we're going to be doing a cart clip. And a cart clip will basically allow us to phase through walls, which is what I was talking about if there's a small wall. I will show you guys in a little bit. That's not great. Hopefully. Please. There we go. That's a nice backup. So we're gonna clip down to Jojon, which should be right here, if I'm not mistaken. This looks a little bit off. It's not. So we're going to... 1, 2, to dupe it, equip, take out one of these. And now, as you can see, this is why we love Goma's balls. This is the Proving Grounds. And with Goma's balls, we can keep our items in Proving Grounds, just like so. So we're going to keep our items, and we're just going to clip through that wall with the cart clip, just like so. One. That is really unfortunate. Man, fuck. That is really bad. Essentially, if you gain on a cart, you will get pushed forward. Since you don't have collision, when you mounted something, you stay mounted on it. I clipped through one too many walls. I've never had that happen, by the way, which is why it's so unfortunate. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna do this again, and hopefully we don't get screwed over again. That'd be really sad. There we go. So yeah, we can just phase through walls. There goes a minute, though, which isn't great. I need to stay 13 minutes from Sob if I want world record here, and I need to say half an hour to Sob if I want to get a sub 6. So we're going to do another one here. And the reason why we fused it to this claymore is because we can do a drop pickup tech, and if you drop a weapon, you regain the collision on your feet. And we need to keep our weapon inventory filled at all times, which is why it's called drop pickup tech, because we drop and then we pick it up. Just like so. Drop. Pick it up. I'm just going to do this. That is not what I'm looking for. Please. Please, what is happening? There we go. I don't know why it's not working well all of a sudden. I literally practiced this right before stream. So we're going to do another card clip in the shrine. And it'll go off. I really do not like that bullet time method, so I don't think I will be using it for the rest of the run, even if it loses me just a little bit of time. So again, we're just going to pocket up over here. Aim. Make sure to preserve our resources. And we're going to be losing more time here, unfortunately. It is just because I'm not great with cart clips. Or with mid-air cart slides that use a bullet time, or that use bullet time. It is possible with bullet time, and it's possible without bullet time. I am better at the one without bullet time. It was found a couple weeks ago by the current world record holder, Elias NXKO, and it is pretty cool. There we go. That's what it should look like. So we're just going to enter the Morok Shrine here, and we're going to complete it, of course. I'm also kind of running out of things to say, because this is basically kind of the same thing with a couple different strats, like every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it is not going to be faster to pocket rockets. Now I know that for sure. The pocket rocket slides are pretty slow. So here, cart means that we're going to put a cart in our inventory, and we're going to slide. In the shrine, of course. And it has some really weird effects, which you'll see. Train, please. Thank you. Where am I going? That way. When you car slide in a shrine, there's no wind. Which basically means that you kind of just keep going. Because wind is what, if you don't have a wind value, then you don't slow down after you leave a cart. And you'll see that has some pretty funny effects. Good brother, thank you. I'm bleeding time right now. I need to lock in. I might not be talking much for a while, because I really want to play well here. And when I talk in all shrines, I've played wars, as you can see. If there's anything that is very eye-catching, I will say it. But from here on out, it is more just going to be me trying to focus on the game as much as possible. If you have any questions, of course, I'll answer them. So I'll unmute here. So now we're gonna go get auto builds to do something called an auto build cancel. And auto build cancels are gonna allow us to transport shrine crystals really easily. Please, up, up, up! Please! Okay. We're gonna warp here, then we're gonna get auto builds, then we're gonna go do some of the rest of the shrines. And then we're gonna do something called vertical cart slides, which I'll get into then, but I'm gonna mute back up. I'm not playing the greatest right now, as you can see, so I need to fix that, and ASAP. Um, so we're going to be doing something called a vertical card slide. I need to put... So I'm going to get a stabilizer here. And then stabilizers, of course, make your thing stable. And essentially, that will allow us to have a stable one that's up, and if we climb on it, then we can card slide vertically, which we'll see right about now. I need to dupe it real quick. Okay. And look, we are card sliding up. We're going to be doing this a lot, and we're also going to be card sliding at a 45-degree angle, so I'll stay unmuted until then. So we're going to go to the crystal over here. So here I'm going to attach a steering stick so that we can clip in its place much later. I'll share more about that later. I just need you to... So, doing an auto build cancel will allow us to kind of have this little schematic follow us around. And as you can see, it is really good at transporting things. So yeah. Here we go. So now we're going to go to Yansamin. And we're going to be doing a 45 card slide, which I will show off here. We're going to also use a stabilizer to go at a 45-degree angle instead of just vertical. And look at that. And then we're going to be doing the only Ascend and Improving Grounds here. And it's because it is really easy, and the card clip, which is faster, saves almost no time. So, I'm going to equip Ascend. I'm going to take out a steering stick. We're just going to kind of go to the end. I am playing below average right now. My average is pretty bad. So yeah, that is how we're going to be kind of maneuvering around almost. So I'm going to bring it back up. That was kind of the only exception. For here on out, it's going to be very, very similar. So sit back, enjoy, get some popcorn, because we're going to be here for a hot minute.